Good afternoon, good morning everybody, and welcome to the InduSoft Web Studio 7.1 webinar. My name is Fabio Teresino and I'll be hosting this webinar demonstrating the main new features available in InduSoft Web Studio 7.1. We are very excited with this new release. InduSoft Web Studio 7.1 will be available in June of 2012, so next month. Will be fully officially released and available to the market. And we have implemented more than 250 different items in version 7.1. So it's a major new release. It would not be possible to talk in details about every single changes in this webinar. So we prioritized the items that we consider to be the most important enhancements. But in the product itself, after installing version 7.1, you can go to Help, Release Notes, and visualize and check the list of all changes implemented in this version. Moreover, InduSoft keeps the commitment to keep 100% of compatibility with applications created in previous versions of the product. So now in version 7.1, you can open and run projects created in any previous versions of InduSoft Web Studio. You just need to upgrade the license. And in InduSoft, we give you the advantage to install InduSoft Web Studio 7.1 in the same computers where previous versions of the product were installed, even if you do not uninstall previous versions. So you can keep version 7.1, 7.0, 6.1, all those versions installed at the same time in the same computer. You don't have to necessarily uninstall previous versions before installing version 7.1. So having said that, let's get started. The first major enhancement I'd like to demonstrate is the Studio Mobile Access Thin Client. So in version 7.0, even in previous versions, we had an SMA solution in Studio Mobile Access, which was renamed now in version 7.1 to Tabular SMA Thin Client. So we keep 100% of compatibility with projects that used this solution, and it's extremely portable since you can visualize tag values and online alarms from any device with any web browser. Even simpler devices like old cell phones, Nokia phones, devices that had browsers that do not support newer technologies like HTML5. So we keep the tabular SMA Thin Client available in the product, but in version 7.1, we are releasing an enhanced version of the SMA called SMA Thin Client, which was fully developed with the HTML5 technology. So any browser that supports HTML5 will be able to be a SMA Thin Client for InduSoft Web Studio applications, and it includes devices like iPads, iPhones, tablet devices with Android operating systems, cell phones with Android, new smartphones from BlackBerry, Windows phones, regular PCs running Windows, Macintosh with iOS. So pretty much any operating system with a browser that supports HTML5. So it's a fully portable thin client solution which allows you to configure the navigation through different screens using a hierarchical view, and I'll show in details how you configure that. It allows you to monitor dashboards with tag values in real time, online values from tags using different widgets like circular gauges, semicircular gauges, switches, bar graphs. And it allows you to visualize online trends and history of trends on the Thin Client station as well. So the SMA Thin Client is an extremely portable solution, Thin Client solution for many different devices in different platforms. And it provides an interface which is very, very easy to configure. So here on the development environment, if you go to graphics, thin clients, we show here the link for the mobile access thin client, which is the new interface available in 7.1. And the mobile thin client tabular is the SMA thin client solution available in previous versions. So we just renamed it to tabular and we keep it in the product for backward compatibility. You can also access the mobile access interface through the ribbon interface under Project, Web, Mobile Access, or from the tree view under Graphics, Thin Clients, Mobile Access. So if I double click on this icon, I open the configuration screen. And as you see here, we have area settings and global settings. And in global settings, you have some options that are applicable for all the thin clients, like the columns that will be visible in the alarm control by default, and the user can add new columns during the runtime using the thin client itself. Default colors for alarms in active, acknowledgement, and normalization status. Default duration in seconds for the trend control. So what's the period for the trend control by default, and the user can change that from the thin client as well. And update rates for alarms, trends, and process values in the dashboards. So you do not have to refresh the thin client when values change on the server. Those values are automatically updated on the thin client stations, but you have the option to define how fast you want the server to send the updated values to the thin clients. So if you have a slow network, or if you want to minimize the traffic in the network, you can increase those periods. If you want to update the thin clients faster, you can write smaller numbers in those periods. Very well, then it comes to the area settings, and the first area is called main. Is the first area, just like the startup screen that appears on the browser when you open the browser. And for each area, you can define the label that will be displayed here on the top of the options for the area. You can define the access level and use the built-in security system from InduSoft Web Studio to filter which users from which groups can access each area. So you can create some areas that only engineers or administrators can visualize, other areas for operators. So the SMA thin client is fully integrated to the InduSoft Web Studio built-in security system. You can also filter alarms per area. So I could say, for instance, that in the main area, I want to display alarms from the group 1 and from the group 5 to the group 7. And a nice feature here is, as you type anything in those fields, if the syntax is not correct, we show a red border around it. And if the syntax is correct, we just show a normal border. So it's an online check for the syntax of each field. If I leave in blank, the alarm control from this area will display any alarm from the application. You can filter per priority and selection as well. And if you check this checkbox, we will display in the alarm control from this area only alarms triggered by tags configured in this grid. And in this grid, you can create a list of tags for that area, define a label to be visualized by the user in the thin client, and then you have some options. If you click write, it means the user can write values, can change those set points, those tag values from the thin clients. If you leave unchecked, those values are read only on the thin client. If you check this option, the value for this tag will be a pen in the trend control. So you can define the minimum and maximum value to scale the value. And if you select anything different from known here, like circular gauge, semi-circular gauge, horizontal gauge, switch, or text box, we use those gauges to display this tag value in the dashboard screen. And you can also define the pen color for the pens in the trained control if you enable the tag for the trained control. This is the main area. I can expand here this list and I can insert new areas, create areas of sub areas, and for each area I can change those settings. So for each one of those areas and sub areas, I define the label for the area, the access level, the alarm group filtering options, and the list of tags available for the trained and for the dashboard's process values. Now, a very nice thing is if you install InduSoft Web Studio in a computer where the Microsoft Web Server, the IIS, is previously installed, when you install InduSoft Web Studio, we configure the basic settings in IIS for the SMA, for the Studio Mobile Access. So you do not have to go to the control panel and configure home directory, root directory. We make those configurations automatically for you. You can and should go to IIS to apply the security rules from your IT department, but the basic settings to make the SMA solution work are automatically set for you. So all you have to do is run the application on the server and then open the browser in the local computer or in any remote device. I'm going to use the Google Chrome web browser, but could be any other web browser, even in iPads, iPhones, different devices. Then you type the IP address of the computer running the application, MA from mobile access, logon.spx. It connects to the server, asks for username and password. If I type a valid username and password, I have no access whatsoever to the application. If I type a valid username and password, it connects to the server and displays the areas that I configured for this application, as well as the sub areas as well. And I can use those built-in buttons to navigate back and forth. So for instance, here in the main area, I have alarms, process values, and trains. So if I click in alarms, it shows the list of alarms in this application. So if I go back here to the server, I can see the alarms available there on the server as well. I have a different filter option here. That's why I don't see all the alarms there. But I can check one or more alarm options here on the thin client. Click on ECK to acknowledge, enter a comment like webinar afternoon, confirm. The alarm is automatically acknowledged on the server. And if I go to the history, I see all the information about the alarms, including the comments from the user on the thin client, the station where the alarm was acknowledged, the time, and everything else. So if I trigger alarms on the server, I see the alarms here on the thin client, and if I acknowledge alarms on the server, they are acknowledged on the server, on the thin client, they are acknowledged on the server as well. You can even ECK all and enter a comment for all of them, like test, confirm. And then it's going to acknowledge all the alarms in the list. You can even enable additional columns, like I want to see, for instance, event time, comments, and when you go back, those additional columns are displayed here. And you do not have to worry with the resolution on the thin client, because the list will automatically be readjusted to fit the area available on your thin client. So a main, very important advantage and nice feature of the SMA interface is that you do not have to spend time drawing the screens for the SMA thin client, worrying about different resolution. Everything auto-fits automatically to whatever resolution you have on the thin clients. Very important, especially when you use mobile devices that have different resolutions. Here in process values, we display the gauges for the area that you selected. So if I go back here to the server, those values are linked to those tags here. So you see that as the values change on the server, they change on the thin client as well. And depending on the area you go, we have a different list of tags and different list of gauges. And again, if you change the resolution on the thin client, the screen is automatically readjusted automatically to fit the area available on the browser, to fit the area available on the thin client. Even if you want to, if you enable the write checkbox, it means that you can write values back to the server. So the background for the gauges is a light blue, indicating that the user can click there to change values. So those tags are linked to those tags here in the alarm screen. So if I click here in analog, I can change the value, and when I say write, this value is written back to the server. If I change the value back to the here on the server to 16, I go back to the thin client, the value is 16. If I go to 100, the value goes to 100. Analog or digital values as well. I can turn on this switch to turn this bit on, turn off this one, and it is turned off on the screen. So we have bi-directional communication between the thin clients and the server. And again, you don't have to do any kind of refresh on the browser. Finally, you have also trend control. So if I click here on trend, I see the pens that were enabled for that particular area. In the trend control, we support both the online mode and history mode. So here in online mode, I can toggle the legend on and or off to use the real estate for to display the current value, minimum and maximum value, or to use the screen just to display the pens. So just by clicking here in toggle legend, you change the view during the runtime. You can also change here the play mode to off, and then it means now it's a history trend. So it goes back to the history, brings the history data from the server and displays the history data on the screen. And you can move this cursor here over the trend, and we display the different values for each one of the pens as you move the cursor. If you toggle the cursor off, then you can click on the trend itself and move it, drag it back and forth to visualize data in the past or in different periods of time. Also, you can come here to configuration, period, and define a specific period to visualize the data. Like for instance, I want to visualize from today, from 8:15 a.m. All the way to today at 8:20 a.m. for example. Go back here. If I go back to the trend, it's changed the duration and shows the data for the specific periods that I selected. And again, I can turn the cursor on or off, and I can even enable also this option fill, which fills the area below the trend with transparent color, so you can see the area below the curves in addition to the curves themselves. Finally, you have the option here for percentage mode. So if I turn it off, I can define here a specific range for the Y scale, and the trend control display the values in absolute values based on the minimum and maximum value that you define for the Y scale. If you enable the percentage mode to on, then we just automatically scale the pens according to the min and max that you configure on the server. So all those features are readily available on any platform, any browser that supports HTML5. Mobile devices, regular PCs, on Apple, Google, Microsoft platforms, Linux, whatever any browser that supports HTML5. So fully portable and very important, with a very easy interface to configure the settings. So again, you just come to mobile access and define the settings for each area. You don't have to draw the screens, worry about realigning objects, realigning controls. Everything is aligned automatically for you. And again, you can define the navigation with the built-in security system. You can display online tag values in dashboards with different gauges. You can visualize trend online and trend history, as well as the list of online alarms and acknowledge alarms from the mobile devices. So all the main features, main tools that customers demand, especially for mobile devices, will be readily available in the SMA Thin Client released along with InduSoft 7.1. Another major enhancement is the collaboration server. So in 7.1, InduSoft Web Studio provides an optional add-on which allows you to integrate InduSoft Web Studio with the standard Team Foundation server from Microsoft to implement application lifetime management. So the supervisor, the manager, and any engineers working on the project can create work items like to-do lists and assign those items to different engineers. And as the items are implemented from InduSoft Web Studio, you can assign the changes to different work items. So it's fully integrated with the standard Team Foundation server from Microsoft to provide a native revision control for your applications, multi-user collaboration, the ability to have more than one engineer working on the same project at the same time, history of changes, so it shows the traceability. You can visualize different changes made on each screen, each dialog, each script, each file from the project, restore previous versions. Everything is based on the security system, so you can define which users from your network, from your Active Directory, can access and modify different projects. You have built-in tools to backup the projects back to the server, restore the latest version or previous versions of the project from the server, and even compare your version of the tags or scripts with previous versions stored on the server. So the bottom line is to provide a built-in tool integrated in the product where you can manage your projects and execute revision control directly from InduSoft Web Studio, leveraging all the tools and all the features that are readily available in Team Foundation Server. So the way it works is on the server computer, in any computer in your network, you install the Microsoft Team Foundation Server. You can purchase this license directly from Microsoft or any Microsoft distributor. Nowadays in United States, it costs around $500. And you install this Team Foundation Server in your computer along with Microsoft SQL Server. This is going to be the server where your projects will be centralized, will be stored, and the history for your projects as well. Then in the station where you work, you install InduSoft Web Studio and the Team Foundation client, which is free of charge. You can download from the Microsoft website, install in your computer. So in your workstation, you just install the Team Foundation client, which is free of charge, and the regular InduSoft Web Studio 7.1. And you can enable the add-on on the license. You can purchase the add-on on the license to enable the collaboration server in InduSoft Web Studio to be used along with the Team Foundation server. And then from that station, you can download projects or check in projects back to the server. Different users can get the projects or check out projects from the server, and different engineers could be working on the same project at the same time. So just to make a quick demonstration, here in collaboration, you can connect InduSoft to one server in the network. So all those values most of them are filled automatically for you. So in this case, I'm connected to a server in our network. And let me create a new project here. So I'm going to create a new project called Webinar Afternoon. I can check this checkbox, add new project to collaboration server. So as I create this project, it is automatically added in the collaboration server. If I do not check that checkbox, I can always add this project to the collaboration server just by right-clicking here on the project root folder and clicking the option Add Project to Collaboration. So now this project is on the collaboration server, and I can create different documents here, screens, scripts, different interfaces. For instance, I can create a button here, and let's say this button A. Save it as the screen, let's call it screen 1. So here in the tree view, we show that you have this new screen, screen 1, and we show this plus icon here on the screen icon, indicating that the version of this screen has been added in your local project, but has not been updated on the server yet. So you can right click and check in to send this screen to the server, and when you do that, you can associate the screen to one or more work items previously created in the server. So you can check in, and now this file will be updated on the server, and any other user that gets the project will get this latest version of the screen. If I open the screen and I make changes, the icon automatically changes to indicate that this file is checked out. It's just a flag in the server saying, okay, this user is modifying this screen. So if any other user connected to the collaboration server tries to modify the same screen, they will receive a warning message indicating the user, Fabio, in this case, is modifying this screen. If you want to proceed, you can do that, but when you try to upload the screen to the server, there will be a conflict, and then you can handle the conflict. Either overwrite my changes or keep my changes. But all the users will be notified that this screen is checked out for Fabio. In other words, Fabio is modifying this screen. When I'm done, I can just check in this screen again. Now the icon shows that I have the latest version from the server, and anybody else could open this screen and modify this screen now. We also have options to compare. So I can create here a procedure. So let's say function A and function, and save those changes. So as you see here in the icon, I have the plus icon here. It means that I can check in other words, upload this change to the server. And if I come here and I make changes to the procedure, like for instance function B and function, I save this change locally, but I have not updated this change back to the server. As you see here, we show a icon indicating that this is the local version has been checked out because I'm changing it, so it's different from the server. So I can right click here and compare my version with the version on the server, and InduSoft will automatically show the differences between the procedure that I'm creating on the server and the latest version of the procedure on the server. So here my local version has those changes here. We highlight in yellow the changes, and it shows, oh, in the server I don't have those changes, here I have those changes. And you can even automatically overwrite your local script with the script from the server to make sure you have the latest one, save those changes, and eventually check in your new version with the changes that you implemented. I'm doing those changes file by file, interface by interface, but in the real world, most likely you will use those options, right-clicking here on the project name and checking in all the changes on the project or getting the latest version for all the files on the project. So you have the flexibility to apply revision control per file or for the whole project at once. So Collaboration Server is another major enhancement available in version 7.1. And going on, in 7.1, we are also releasing OPC UA for CE View and Embedded View on Windows CE and Windows Embedded. So you will have the option to run OPC UA client from a Windows CE device. The InduSoft Web Studio 7.0, currently available in the market, provides an OPC UA client for PC platforms, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 2003, 2008 Server. And in 7.1, we are making the OPC UA client available for Windows CE as well. So again, InduSoft is innovating and being the first HMI to have an OPC UA client available for all Windows platforms, including Windows CE. It's especially important in new HMIs with Windows CE 7.0, where remote decom is no longer available. So OPC DA cannot be configured on Windows CE 7.0. So the UA becomes especially important for those platforms. But we still support the OPC DA on Windows CE, even though under Windows CE 7.0 remote decom is not available. So OPC UA will be increasingly important for this type of platforms. So moving on, we have made several graphical enhancements as well. Especially on the low-end devices, like again Windows CE devices, Windows embedded devices, we have made enhancements to increase the performance when switching through different screens. The trade-off here is memory allocation. We are reusing run memory when opening screens, which makes it much faster. In some cases even twice or more than twice faster than used to be in version 7.0, especially in devices in the low end. And in the development environment from InduSoft Web Studio, you have here in options the performance control interface. And if you enable it by default, then InduSoft will automatically reuse objects in memory for different screens, which increases a lot the performance. But if you reach a limit, which by default is 5 megabytes, then InduSoft keeps the object in memories, but for new screens that you open, we allocate those objects, and when you close the screen, we destroy them from memory. And if you reach a critical limit of memory, by default 1 megabyte of free run memory, then we disable this algorithm altogether, and we keep allocating memory when you open the screen and destroying those objects to release memory when you close the screen. So if you have devices with enough run memory, you can take advantage of this major performance enhancement when switching screens. If not, at least you can still open and close the screens and we'll manage the memory as we used to do in previous versions of the product. We have made other graphical enhancements like the new Textbox control. So here on the graphics active objects area, you have a new option called Textbox. You can place it on the screen, and this control allows you to input values, enter values for the operator to input values, even when you do not have enough real estate on the screen for that. For example, if I change here the background to gray, so it's more visible here, I can assign a tag to this control. Let's say tag A. I'll create this tag as a string. Say yes. And here I can define tag A, enable input for tag A. So here I can monitor the tag A using the text IO dynamic, just to monitor the value during the runtime. So I can create this screen as the test screen and run it. If I use the test control available in version 7.0, I'm limited on the number of characters that I can type here. But if I use the new text IO control, I can keep typing additional values, and the values scroll within the object itself. So it's extremely useful for customers that want to input data that is potentially larger than the real estate available on the screen for the values. In addition to that, you can also change the properties of the control, enabling multi-line and word wrap. In this case, you can even display values in multi-line, in more than one line, and the control will wrap this value automatically during the runtime. So you can even enable here a scroll bar, and if you enable the scroll bar, the text will scroll vertically and it will show a scroll bar. So right here I'm scrolling, I can go up and down with the cursor, and if I enable the scroll bar and save the changes, I can go up and down through the scroll bar as well. So extremely useful, extremely flexible. Here in the mask count, if I write a number like for instance 5, it means that I force the user to input a value with up to 5 characters, no more than 5 characters. And for numeric values, you can also define what we call mask. So in this case here, I format the numeric value to display 2 decimal points. So you can even optionally use this mask count field to apply constraints for the values typed by the user during the runtime, as well as minimum value, maximum value, disable, security system, all the standard tools, electronic signature, all the standard properties that are available for data input. Another enhancement in the graphical interface is the tabbing order. So if I have different controls here on the screen and I save them, if I have a regular keyboard, I can use the tab key on the keyboard to select different objects during the runtime. And this order can be very easily changed or edited using version 7.1. All you have to do is right click here, go to tab order, and it shows you the current order, and you just click on the objects in the new order you want, like 1, 2, 3, this one, 4 here, and 5 on the last one. When you are done, you right click on the screen, disable the tag order mode, and save the screen again. When you open the screen, we automatically select the first object in the tab order, and if I hit tab, it goes to the next one, the next one, the next one, according to the order that I defined during the development. So a very easy way to define the tabbing order for objects that require focus during the runtime. InduSoft is also continuing the trend to improve the integration with PLCs, different PLC tags databases. So in version 7.0, we had tag integration for TwinCat from Beckhoff, as well as CodeSys from 3S. And now in version 7.1, in addition to the TwinCat and CodeSys tag integration, we included the tag integration for RS Logix 5000, which is the programming software for the Allen Bradley ControlLogix PLCs. So if you add it to your project, You can just browse here the L5K file generated by the RS Logix 5000 programming software. And InduSoft will automatically access all the tags created in the PLC program. So as you configure the screens, the math sheets, any interfaces that require tags in InduSoft, you can browse tags, and we automatically display a new icon here in this tree view for the ControlLogix PLC, and then you can browse tags directly from the PLC program. And as you select one tag and say OK, InduSoft behind the scenes creates a tag with the same name as the tag in the PLC and link the InduSoft tag to the tag in the PLC. Enable the communication for that tag during the runtime. So you do not have to create an InduSoft tag manually and link this tag manually to the tag in the PLC. Everything is done automatically for you. In version 7, we are releasing the tag integration for RS Logix, and in upcoming versions, service packs and newer versions, we intend to continue creating tag integration interfaces to new PLCs like the Omron PLCs and different data sources. Some additional features: drag and drop for tags and expressions. It was another enhancement requested by several customers. The ability to, if I have more than one interface open, and I have, let's say, one tag configured here, have the ability to hit the Control key on the keyboard, then click and drag this tag or expression to any other interface, and release the mouse there to copy the tag or expression to a different interface. So using the Control key, you can drag and drop any tag or any expression from different controls, different interfaces in InduSoft. So it's a very easy, intuitive, and fast way to copy tags and objects through different interfaces. Even dialogues like I did here. I can click here, drag, and drop it here in the disable field. So it's available in version 7.1. We also, based on customers' feedback, we gave you the option to customize the color for the alarm messages on the alarm control. As most of you know, when you create the alarm groups here, you have the ability to define the foreground color, the text color, and the background color for alarm messages in different states: active, acknowledged, and normalized. But in addition to those default settings, when you create alarm control on the screen, you have the option to click here in Option, in Colors, and specify custom colors for specific criteria. Like, for instance, you can say alarms from the group 2 that are active and have not been acknowledged with the selection area A, for example, and priority 7 should be displayed with this background color and this foreground color. So you can define very specific conditions to change the color of the alarms on the alarm control, and if this criteria is met, this color will overwrite the default color from the alarm group configuration. So more flexibility to define the colors on the alarm controls. Resizable dialog window for commands. Another feedback from customers: when you enable the commands option, you can come here to config, and many times you have a large monitor and you have a sophisticated keyboard, sophisticated script, and you'd like to have a larger dialog, a larger screen to write your script. So now in version 7.1, you have the option to resize this window and have a larger real estate to write your script here. So also available in version 7.1. pretty much everything that I'm demonstrating, all the new features in version 7.1 were created based on feedback from you, from our customers, our partners, and we just prioritize those suggestions, and we are releasing many of them now in version 7. Another option is the configurable scale for built-in dialogues. In previous versions, we had the option to configure a scale for the virtual keyboards, but now we expanded this option for different built-in dialogues like the logon dialog, for example. So if I define here, let's say 150% and enable the security system, so let me just enable the security system here really quick. Then in this button, I can open the logon dialog. During the runtime, if I click this button, the logon dialog is larger than the original standard size because I changed it here in Project Viewer, the scale for built-in dialogues. And you can even select this option, the auto option, which allows you to change the size of those dialogues dynamically depending on the resolution where the application is running. So if you deploy this application in devices with smaller resolutions, we automatically display smaller dialogues. If you go to a large LCD display or large HMI with a large screen, we automatically display a larger dialog to take advantage of the real estate, especially for touchscreen devices. So very nice tool, very easy to configure, readily available in version 7.1. And finally, InduSoft has been deployed in many projects for building automation. We are seeing an increasing demand for InduSoft Web Studio in building automation. So we have made an important investment to increase the backnet driver, supporting different topologies of networks with gateways, many different devices, and not only enhancing the backnet driver master that was available in version 7.0, but also releasing a new backnet driver slave in version 7.1. So in version 7.1, we have a very comprehensive solution for the backnet protocols with drivers that implement the backnet master and the backnet slave protocols built in the product, readily available in version 7.1. So with that, I would like to open for Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat box or in the Q&A box from the webinar, and I'll be more than happy to address your questions. So I'm checking here. One question is if the SMA thin client is supported by Android devices, and yes, any device with any operating system with a browser that supports HTML5. The question here is if the backnet driver supports Ethernet and serial. The backnet driver, the native backnet driver, supports backnet TCP through a Ethernet network. Backnet serial would be supported through a third-party OPC server. One question is if there is improvements in the tag expression box. I'm not sure what type of improvements, specific improvements you'd like to see, but the drag and drop is an improvement for this type of interface. And you also, in previous versions, in very specific situations, if you made changes, the save button was not available, was not enabled. And we fixed that to make the save button enabled and available every time that you make changes in any fields. So can you program a thin client on an iPad with 7.1 over thin client or just over web browser? The configuration of the thin client is always done on the development environment with InduSoft Web Studio. In the development environment of InduSoft runs on Windows. Now, after you configure the application with InduSoft Web Studio and you run the application on the server on a Windows platform, Windows XP, Windows 7, 2003 or 2008 server, then you can open the browser on the thin client, like an iPad or Android, and visualize tag values, trend online, trend history, and alarms from the browser on the thin client. But the application configuration, this interface here, this configuration is done on the server, on the computer running Windows, not on the thin client. And then the actual screens are available on the browser from any thin client, any browser that supports HTML5. Another question is about collaborative abilities. Can multiple users work on the same project at the same time? Yes, they can work. Multiple users can work on the same project at the same time. It is kind of transparent for the users if they are working on different screens. Like for example, let's say that I'm the user Fabio and I'm working on the screen test. When I'm done, I can just right click and check in this screen back to the server. And let's say another user, John, is working on the screen 1. When he's done, he checks in the screen 1 to the server. And when I get the latest version, I automatically get the changes that John did on the screen 1. When one engineer is changing one interface, one screen, or one script, one worksheet, the other users are automatically aware of that. If they try to modify the same document at the same time, we show a warning message saying this user has checked out this interface to modify it and if you want, go ahead and make changes. But since two people are working on the same document at the same time, the first one will check in the changes back to the server. When the second one tries to check in the changes back to the server, there will be a conflict. And then the user has options to handle this conflict, which are either overwrite the changes on the server with his own changes, or keep the previous changes on the server and discharge his local changes. And in the future, we are going to improve this tool and give the user the ability to merge changes as well. So keep the other user's changes, but add your changes, and there is a dialog for that. It's under development, and it will be available most likely in the next service pack. But in the meantime, multiple users can already work on the same project at the same time, creating tags, creating functions, screens, driver worksheets, and each one of them could be working in a different portion of the application, a different document at the same time. So another question. The question about the tag expression is the character limit. The limit for an expression field in a built-in field from InduSoft, like a tag expression like this one, is 1024 characters. If you go to VB script interface, you don't have this limit. You can have as many characters as you want. This limit for 1024 characters will be increased in InduSoft Web Studio version 8.0, which is scheduled for the next year. One question is about database redundancy, if we have made enhancements in this interface. In 7.1, we have not made any changes in the redundancy interface for databases. In the Service Pack 1 for 7.0, we had included this option here, decimation. to improve the performance when values are retrieved from the database. And we have work items under development to increase the performance from database redundancy, especially when one database is not available. So if you have a project that needs this enhancement, let us know, and we should be able to provide you a patch to increase the performance there in a short period of time. There was a security issue in 7.0 that could allow thin clients, user groups that are denied to access thin clients. Has it been fixed? Yes. All the issues, known issues regarding security system in our database have been fixed and are available in version 7.1. That particular one I know by heart that was fixed and available in version 7.1. Is there a way to assign tag groups in the tags database? Not sure I understand the question. To assign tag groups in the... Oh, I believe organize tags in different groups here in the tags database. This is part of the restructured tags database, where you can create different groups, nested classes, multi-dimensional arrays, different options in the tags database, which is scheduled to be released with InduSoft Web Studio 8.0. So one question here is, you can only install the actual thin clients on Windows mobile devices? No. The SMA thin clients is available on any platforms. The web thin clients, where you have the whole graphical screens from InduSoft with different combo boxes, radio buttons, bitmaps, screenshots, the whole graphical interface, which is the web thin client, right now is available on Internet Explorer only. The SMA solution is a different thin client type, which is available on any device with a browser that supports HTML5. And in our roadmap, the goal is to make the web thin client fully portable, just like the SMA thin client is fully portable. But before making this major enhancement available, we decided to release in 7.1 the SMA thin client, which, number one, is a much easier interface to configure than drawing screens manually, and number two, provides this interface available right now to customers using the native browser from the devices. You don't have to install any app, you don't have to install any add-on in the browser. It's a very clean, a real thin client solution, and provides the typical interfaces that most customers require, which is tag values in dashboards, alarms online, and trends online in trend history. If you need to visualize the whole application, all the screens in an iPad, iPhone, in a tablet device with Android, we have a solution for that as well, based on the Secure Viewer Thin client. We have a tech note that explains step by step how to implement that. But in this case, you need to install an application on the mobile device. And it is available even today in version 7.0. If anyone needs to display the whole application in a mobile device like an Android, iPad, iPhone, let us know, and we will send you the tech note with the instructions. And we have even a demo running on the cloud, and you can connect to it from your device and visualize the screens from there. But the SMA thin client does not require any installation whatsoever in your mobile device. You use just the standard web browser. Thank you. Some compliments. This version will be version 7.1 will be available to download in June, most likely in the third week of June, but in June for sure, June of 2012, so next month. In the meantime, if you'd like to be a beta tester, feel free to send an email to me, and I'll be more than happy to include you in the beta testers list and send the beta version of 7.1 to you. Asking for screen scaling in multiple resolutions using Internet Explorer. It has been supported by the product in version 7.0. It was supported. It is still supported in version 7.1 with the same algorithm that we supported in version 7.0. We are improving this algorithm to support multi-touch and to provide a better definition for the objects, and it will be released in the Service Pack 1 to version 7.1. One question is, how does the collaboration handle the tags database, and do you check out the database, or can two or more users add defined points in the tags database at the same time? We spent a lot of time on the tags database. That's the most critical item for the collaboration, and everything works transparently for you. So if one user creates one tag in one project, this tag is readily available to the other projects, and vice versa. You don't have to manually check out your changes or check in your changes. We do it automatically when you make changes in the tags database. For the other documents, you can check in and check out only when you want. What will be the upgrade cost from 7.0 to 7.1? The upgrade cost from any previous versions of InduSoft to the most current version of InduSoft is only 60% of the license cost. If you are up to date with the maintenance package, in other words, when you purchase the license, you have the option to pay 20% more for the license and renew this 20% every year. So if you are up to date with the maintenance program, you are eligible to free upgrades. You do not pay anything to upgrade from previous versions that are under this program to version 7.1. If you purchased version 7.0 3 months before version 7.1 is released, you are also eligible to a free upgrade. So we are releasing now in June. Any customers that purchased licenses on June, May, or April, or obviously after that, are eligible to a free upgrade to version 7.1. Other customers can also upgrade, and the upgrade fee is 60% of the original license cost. The cost for the collaboration server will be released along with version 7.1. It has not been officialized yet, but just like all the other licenses from InduSoft, it's going to be extremely affordable. Questions is, do you need to upgrade the license 7.0 in order to run 7.1? Yes, if you want to, if you have a license today to 7.0, you need to upgrade this license to run 7.1. If you upgrade the license, that license will be good for both 7.1 and 7.0. What is the licensing impact on the mobile access thin client? Excellent question. In 7.0, we have already SMA thin client setting in the license, which is always set to 1 by default. In other words, if you purchase any runtime license from InduSoft Web Studio, you always get one SMA thin client enabled by default. The SMA thin client setting that we had in the previous license is good for the tabular SMA and for the new SMA thin client. So customers will be able, if you purchase a license for InduSoft, it will support by default one SMA thin client concurrently connected to the server. Could either be the tabular one or the standard SMA based on HTML5, and you can upgrade the license on the server to support more than one, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, or up to 128 SMA thin clients concurrently connected to the server. Is the SMA thin client available on version 7.0? In version 7.0, we have the tabular SMA thin client. It allows you to visualize tag values in a table and online alarms in a table. Graphically, it's not nearly as sophisticated as the SMA available in version 7.1. Those are some very basic tables, but it works on any device with any browser. It does not need to support HTML5. So even the old cell phones, smart devices with the old web browsers support it. It is available in 7.0, and we keep supporting it in 7.1. But the new graphical interface that I demonstrated today is a new interface available in 7.1 only. Some additional questions about the performance enhancement for Windows CE devices, low-end HMIs with Windows CE. The algorithm up to version 7.0, when you open a screen, has been to load the file, read this file, create objects in the run memory, and then display the screen. And when you close the screen, we remove all those objects from the run memory. So if you try to open the same screen again, we have to load the file and create all those objects in the run memory again, and then display the screen again. In 7.1, by default, the first time that you open a screen, we load the file, we create the objects in the run memory, but when you close the screen, we do not remove those objects from the run memory. So the next time that you open the same screen, we can reuse those objects in memory. We don't have to spend time recreating those objects in the run memory. So it opens the screen much faster because InduSoft does not have to spend time recreating those objects in memory. Obviously, if you open several screens, we keep creating those objects in memory, so the memory usage with this new algorithm is potentially higher than with the previous algorithm. That's why you have controls to define limits, so if we reach those limits, we stop reallocating objects. We start allocating and destroying objects from the memory to make sure that you do not use all the memory available in your device. Fortunately, most of the new devices are coming with a decent, most of them, not all of them, a decent hardware with run memory, 128 meg or more. So for most typical applications in the low end, you will have enough memory to afford the new algorithm to keep all those objects in memory and improve the performance when switching screens during the runtime. Okay, I have some requests here to be beta testers, and I'm including you, and I'll send an email to you a few minutes later here with the link to download the beta version of InduSoft 7.1. A few additional questions here. Do you have the ability to import tags from UA similar to what you demonstrated with RSLogix? In the OPC UA, you can browse tags from the, when you create here the OPC UA client worksheets, you have the ability to browse the tags one by one when you import them. We do not have a tag integration to OPC UA just yet, but it's going to be available pretty soon. It is one of the next ones in our list of tag integration for OPC UA and OPC DA as well. Will the backnet driver be backward compatible with version 7.0? Yes, the new backnet driver is backward compatible for version 7.0. So you will be able to download the newest version of the driver from the InduSoft website and use it with InduSoft 7.0. Does the new SMA require IIS, or it can be used other servers that support HTML5? I assume the con will be required for manual configuration. The new SMA, the first good news is the new SMA does not require any decon configuration whatsoever. It does require a web server on the local machine. It must be the Microsoft web server from IIS. And then on the client side, where you visualize the information, all you need is a web browser that supports HTML5. How many iPads can the server support? What extra license should I buy? So by default, the server supports any runtime license, supports one thin client, one SMA thin client connected to the server, and you can upgrade the license on the server to support more than one. And the options are 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, or up to 128 SMA thin clients concurrently connected to the server, connected to the server at the same time. Do you have the ability to import? Oh, the same questions here. So we covered all the ones from the chat box, all the questions from the Q&A box. So great, it looks like we covered all the questions here. So if you have further questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. You can contact InduSoft by phone, email, the live chat from the website, or through the social network as well. InduSoft is very active on the social network, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We are posting, by the way, important information. We're posting the training course on videos. If you go to our website now, we have the first day of training in videos available on the InduSoft website. You can watch it, and we'll keep improving, creating new videos. The goal is to have the entire training of InduSoft Web Studio 7.1 available on the website in videos as well. And but if you have any specific questions, feel free to contact us by email or phone or live chat and just ask your questions. And I would like to thank each one of you and everybody for taking the time for this webinar. I do appreciate your partnership with InduSoft promoting those webinars. Hopefully you got important information for your projects, and I hope to see you again in the next InduSoft webinar. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day or a great evening wherever you are. Thank you.